Hi everybody. That's a good way to introduce the show. Hi everybody. This is well, it'll be titled by the time we post it, but right now we're still playing with the name. But my name is TJ, aka El Topo, and sitting virtually beside me is Chris Parks, DJ Fujiki if you're nasty.
I haven't heard that alias in a while. That one's gonna stick with me. I feel like till
Yeah.
the end of days.
Well, at least until me and Anthony are dead.
Yeah. So
But
we know
yeah.
each other from way back when.
Oh yeah.
TJ and I, we go way back.
We go way back, and Chris reached. This is going to be a good show. I can't even speak correctly.
Yes. I reached
Chris,
to you. Yep.
you reached out through the internet. Oh God. And I need a
I wish I could
you know,
you.
real radio shows, they had like a cough button. I need
Yeah.
like vomit and shit button on my
Well, that's
phone.
why I'm here. I can
Oh
edit
no,
all
you can
that
edit
stuff in
out that.
post.
You should edit.
No,
No,
I'll keep it in.
you should make it like more like echoey and like add like reverb to it and shit.
At
Like
this point,
this
the
isn't.
burp will still be playing out, and
Yeah,
they'll just see our
this isn't so much a horror movie podcast. This is a harsh noise experiment.
the worst ASMR you could ever stumble upon.
I'm really shocked I haven't become a harsh noise music artist, because I've come across a few of those and I'm just like, I could do that. Like I could wear a garbage bag on my head and just like hook on a bunch of pedals and a power drill. I could do that.
I mean, I know that you listen to that type of music, and so do I. Like to a
I
certain
mean,
degree.
not really. I listen to like the most like palatable, like I would say like a Death Grips and a Health have elements of harsh noise, but like there's still like melodies and
Right.
stuff going on. But anyway,
Yeah,
we
but
should have
you have the power to turn that off. If you were making that music, I mean, you'd have to be really passionate about it.
yeah,
But
I am not.
I
I'm not.
I'm just impressed somebody is that into
There's
it, that they're
there
sitting at a computer, I would assume,
yeah.
uh their noise device, and just making that and being like, yeah,
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 oh
that's
yeah.
it.
And then
That's
they
it.
release
Walking,
like their they
doing
release
circles
they
around the
release their
room.
album. They released their album with like 74 15-second tracks, and they're like, hell yeah. Well, we lost the harsh noise crowd on our first episode, but that's fine. But
they might
anyway,
they might actually be fans of this film. So yeah, I think we're
oh
probably gonna,
yeah.
if we do receive any hate mail, it might
That, you
be
know what,
over.
Chris, masterful segue there. Yeah, so since we're talking about DIY low fidelity nonsense, the one of them, we might end up talking about some more stuff, but the subject of today's show is Skinamarink, 2022's Skinamarink, if I remember correctly. And boy, do I have thoughts about this fucking movie.
So I don't want to interrupt you
No,
because
no, absolutely.
you're gonna be leading this. You've seen this movie.
Yeah, I was
I
gonna ask, did you sit down and watch it yet?
I've watched the trailer.
That's all you
Um,
need to watch.
well, that I don't want to throw my opinions too deep because
Yeah,
I'm more curious about yours. I have my
sure.
thoughts, and
Okay,
I
sure,
think,
sure.
but you 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 wanted to review this movie, so I really want
Yeah,
to hear what you have to say.
yeah,
So yeah, this was released in 2022 by I believe Kyle Edwards Bell.
yeah,
Um, this is his first feature, I
yeah.
believe.
Just like all murderers, he says he has three names that he goes by, but yeah, it's his first film. I think it's two people, if memory serves. But this got released like in the like what do you call it? Like it got released to the like festival circuit, and it also got released to like very small theatrical engagements, like where they'd rent out like a theater to show it. This didn't get like a wide theatrical release. In fact, it didn't get a wide release technically until I think this year, where Shudder picked it up, and it breaks my heart to say that because I love Shudder so much. Shudder has put out such quality stuff in the last like 5 years. Like Shudder put out a movie called Watcher last year that I thought was incredible. They put out stuff like Psycho Gorman, which is another fucking movie that
It's a
I
great one.
adore. VFW is another great one. Like Shudder has been like they've been just consistent with
They're
bringing
hot.
out like really interesting, like, and all kinds of like horror movies too. Like all like they what the hell's the name of it? Their Deadstream is one that there was like a horror comedy that they put out last year, but like they've been putting out a lot of really interesting stuff. And they also released Skinamarink. Now, I'm going to start off by saying that this movie was really interesting to me because um and I think you're going to get more of this in the era that we live in. And I couldn't sound any more like a 41-year-old man by saying the way I did. But um, so so I first heard about this movie a few months ago via TikTok, and I'm a big TikTok guy. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I love TikTok,
It's fine.
and one of the TikTok is really great at honing in on what you want to like, what you like. It's very like
Algorithm's tight.
I
It's
consistently
tight.
see. I don't like it, every other website. I see a bunch of junk that I don't want to see, and TikTok, I swear they know like the kind of stuff I want to see, and I consistently see that. So I am, and I also have a TikTok for my other podcast that I do, Movie the Podcast, and I did it initially to clip the show and stuff, but clipping and editing is not my strong suit, so I don't really do that so much as I just use it as my own little movie TikTok. And I feel bad about it, to be honest, because I don't know. But anyway, I don't think the guys really care. But anyway, I'm also, so what I'm trying to say is that I'm also kind of part of what is affectionately known as the horror talk community. So I see a lot of reviews for horror movies. I get a lot of like, three underrated horror films that you never heard, or like list of most disturbing horror films. And every time a new one comes out that's getting a lot of buzz, I see that all the time. Like Skinamarink was that. There's a movie now called The Outer Waters, which is supposed to be really wild. I have not watched it yet. It's but anyway, my point, I'm getting off topic, but the point is that Skinamarink came in my radar because TikTok there was a bunch of people saying, this is like the new vanguard of like
For
experimental.
anyone who's never seen David Lynch, this is
Yeah.
probably they're like, holy shit, this
Well,
is amazing. The aesthetic. I mean, we're
yeah.
talking about a whole new generation
Well,
that
and what bothered that is the vibe that I got, and that also bothers me immensely because it demonstrates, one, that you don't understand David Lynch, and like you have no value for like the only thing that David Lynch is like, oh, it's weird. Because like David Lynch actually makes movies, like they have plots, like, and structure. Well, again, we'll get into Skinamarink. But my original point that I've just blasted past, what I wanted to talk about, was everybody was talking about this movie. Like it was all over TikTok. Everybody was talking about it. You go online, you Google it, because I initially Googled it to see if I could see it anywhere. I wanted to see where I could watch this movie. Not released anywhere. It was released in these small kind of roadhouse theater things, and very small engagements here and there, and horror festivals and things like that. But you couldn't just easily go see it or rent it somewhere online. And I'm like, well, how is everybody seeing this movie? And
I know how you did it.
yeah, of course you did. It fell
You,
off the back of an internet truck.
you stole
Um,
it.
oh,
You
of course I
stole
did.
it. I
Yeah,
knew it.
of course. But my point is that everyone
I
did.
knew it.
Like literally every, like, well, maybe not every, because there's some like pseudo, people that get paid to do movie reviews. They probably saw them at festivals and things. But the majority of people that are on like the street level, they did it too. They stole it, and I feel like it was interesting because you could make the argument that the filmmakers legit like leaked it on purpose, because everybody was talking about it. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And this movie that no one, like, I'd never heard of it before, before TikTok. So like you got that word of mouth buzz, and that grew so much to it got picked up by an actual
Yeah,
distributor.
they obviously couldn't ignore it. That
So
the
yeah, so
people
I
people must
feel
have been like at Shutter or elsewhere. Like, there's so
right.
much talk about
This
this.
is the hottest. This is the hottest thing on all the social media. So we got to get it. So you
Yeah,
wonder if like these filmmakers are savvy enough to be like, yeah, we'll just drop a full, like, I say a full HD version, but this movie is like in like 460p. So, but you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of interesting to me where it's like I saw all these people reacting to this movie, and legally there was no way to see this movie. So it's like I thought that was kind of interesting. Like, and I like I said, like as much as I didn't like the movie, like I feel like that is something that we're gonna have to kind of reckon with like independent film, and it might be a good thing in the long run. But it was definitely interesting for me because it's funny because as it happens on the internet, I saw a bunch of people like, well, you guys, you need to, it's important to support this film, and everybody watching this now is they're the reason why like independent cinema is buried and all. And it's like, well actually I think it's the opposite, right? Like, this helped put a spotlight on this movie, and I think, like, again, I don't know this for a fact, but I feel like it's being so easily available online. And I mean, like that. I'm pretty savvy when it comes to that stuff anyway, but like you wouldn't have to be. Like, you literally could find it, like it was a Google search away. But I don't know.
I hate to do this to you, but this was all a ploy to get you admit to stealing that movie.
Try to find the
Yeah. Hey
FBI,
boy,
FBI.
hey, swarm. Now's the time. Sorry, TJ.
Yeah,
You're going to jail for
they're
a
gonna
long time.
seize my hard drive full of movies and porn. Yeah, damn it! This is finally how I go down.
There's going to be multiple people that leave the force because they're going to be so disturbed by
Yeah,
what they
yeah.
see on those hard drives.
I mean, probably not to. No, I mean, but anyway.
But I'm curious to hear. So, from what I've read, and correct me if I'm wrong,
No, go ahead.
um, like not even a small budget. We're talking a barely anything budget. Like, he scraped together
This
like 15,000, from what I understand, to make
and
this movie.
and I
Which
mean, yeah,
nowadays, basically the cost. I don't know if he shot this on film. I know that's like the look that he was going for, at least.
I think it was
Um,
shot. I think it was shot in film. It wouldn't surprise me if it wasn't, because it's got that grainy Super 8 kind of vibe.
you can
But the
replicate that, but
yeah,
this looks genuinely like analog, like it's shot
I
on film,
but
which
but
is which is
and
nice. I appreciate
I
that.
I appreciate that, but here's the thing, and this is where I also agree. Like, it's admirable to be able to finance like a whole ass movie by yourself ostensibly, because obviously no one's really by themselves. I'm sure he had lots of people along the way to help him get even that little bit of money together. But it it like that is cool, but then the actual execution of it, like, it doesn't matter. Like, the only thing they probably spent the money on is the film, because
Right.
there's nothing else in this movie. Like, there is no, and that's its gimmick, right? Like, that's what people like about it. But there's three actors in the movie, and you never see them in the frame. Like, they're always off frame, or you might see like their feet, and you just hear their reverbed out like voices. And it's two kids, which also, like, bad decision, because child actors, and probably some child actors that you knew, probably not even actors, always a bad idea. Kid actors suck. They're always bad. But there's like nothing. The problem I have with this movie is, and again, I appreciate, I'm not one to sit here and say, like, I don't. I love experimental movies. I do. I fucking love I mean, one of my favorite movies, and another low budget fucking hero of mine, Tetsuo the Iron Man, is legitimately one of my favorite movies. And that movie is exactly the same. Shinya Tsukamoto basically made the four people that are in that movie, basically made that movie with him. And he did it on almost no budget. In fact, he almost didn't finish the movie but he cut a short version of it, put it into a film festival, and he won the fucking prize at the film festival. And that's the only reason he had the money to finish the fucking movie.
That's pretty amazing. And that
And
movie is just from a technical standpoint, just
yeah,
nuts. I mean, you look
yeah,
at the set design, the props,
the music is incredible.
yeah, the music. Did he make that too?
No, he got a guy to do it, but like still, like he had the wherewithal to be like, hey, this needs like good music. Like the
Yeah.
music's fucking great.
I
The
mean,
special
it's just
effects
it
are
looks so
amazing.
complicated that it's impressive that he was able to pull off what he did with the
Yeah,
I don't even know how much it took to make that movie, but from
I
what you're telling
think
me, he
I
basically
think
had
like
nothing.
rough. I have a book. I have a book that Tom Mess, who's like a it sucks because a lot of his stuff is like out of print like
Mhm.
forever now. But Tom Mess was a guy that like did pretty much all exclusively wrote about Japanese cinema. And I have a book that he did on Tsukamoto, and it's called Iron Man, and it's great. He did one called Agitator, which is all about Takashi Miike. But in his book about Tsukamoto, he estimates that Tetsuo the Iron Man was about $3,000. And he also, the funny thing is that he got evicted from his apartment because he shot most of like the interior scenes in his apartment. And if you've ever seen that movie, like it gets totally disgusting and there's like
Yeah.
shit everywhere.
Yeah.
And yet he got evicted from his apartment because
I mean,
he didn't ask permission to
can't blame the landlord for that one.
he didn't ask permission to do any of that shit. He just did it. But more to Tetsuo the Iron Man is that that movie is also short. That movie is 1 hour long. It's 58 minutes long. It's not even an hour long. And Skinamarink is like I think almost 2 hours long.
Wow.
And there is hold on, let me look at the runtime. Where's my phone?
Well, yeah, I mean, for a horror movie, I feel like that's pretty long as well. I
Well,
mean,
but the problem is, and it is, but the thing is that you got to understand, and you can really, I think you can only truly appreciate this if you've seen it. Nothing happens in this movie, and I say nothing happens. I mean, like this is, to what music is to what harsh noise is to music, like regular structured music. Like let's say that I don't know. Let's say like fucking One by Metallica is the standard, right? And then you got like harsh noise where it's like butt fucking goblin, Serenade 69 or whatever. Those two things aren't congruent. Like they're heavy and loud, but like there's nothing connecting
connecting
those two
them. Yeah.
things. And that's Skinamarink, right? Like it literally is just all interior shots of this house and creepy walls, and you hear kids' voices talking, and then the only like real like action in quotation marks for those of you listening, and is that there's like old cartoons on the TV that the kids are watching, like like old 1930s like Max
Yeah.
Fleischer kind of cartoons, and that's it. That's like the whole movie. And then like there is one part in the movie where something kind of happens because like if I had to give you like a basic plot synopsis, it's two kids are at home and their dad's there, and they wake up in the middle of the night and no one's home, and that's the whole story. And then like walls start disappearing, and like but like to say that, even that sounds more structural than what this movie presents. There is no structure in this movie. There is no like 3 act structure. And again, people that love this shit is going to be like, well, you don't need a three act structure, and I agree. But like there is nothing. My problem with this film is it's it's all this weird shit, but there's nothing to hold it together. There's nothing for you as an audience member to be like compelled by, because I don't care about the kids. I don't care about this house. When they finally start like so there's this like demon that's in the house, I guess, that's like talking to these kids. And when that picks up, there's only like 10 more minutes of the movie. And you're like I don't know. And then the whole movie relies on you. Again, the movie is very shot very dimly and in like this kind of blue light. So literally the whole movie is just you looking at the screen going, wait, does that look like something? Is it like when you're in your room in the dark and you see like a pile of clothes, but it like, oh, it looks like a fucking dragon. I don't know.
But I feel like that's exactly why it could be um really popular,
It
because
could,
people like get into that and they
it
want
could,
to find a deeper meaning when
yeah,
maybe
I
there's
agree.
no other deeper meaning there other than it's just meant to be atmospheric and creepy as hell.
Yeah, and Skinamarink, by the way, is an hour and 40 minutes long,
Yeah, it's pretty long
which is way too
for
long
for no plot and
for
really no
nothing.
dialogue, right?
Yeah, yeah, for nothing. And I agree. What you're saying is right. Like that's what people are buying into. But my contention is that it's fine to have an open-ended film that's open to interpretation, and you put in what you bring to it or whatever. I have no problem with that. But again, I don't find that there's anything compelling about what they do on screen. And again, you took, like, I think what is an interesting idea for like a YouTube short movie. Like there's plenty of, like, this has got, and this is like bargain basement criticism, but whatever. It's just got student film written all over it, right? And the thing is, like, this would be kind of cool if it was like 15 minutes long, but to sit there and make me watch this for an hour and 40 minutes. And I've seen a lot of people say, like, um, and this also feeds into my whole, they leaked this thing on purpose. They say that this is tying into the whole lo-fi watching weird YouTube videos at 2 a.m. kind of thing. And the ideal way to watch this movie is to watch it with headphones on a fucking laptop or on your phone. And I'm like,
That's one of the reviews I read too. Somebody said that this movie would have been perfect for YouTube if they had split it up
mm-hmm,
into like 4 or 5 different episodes.
I totally agree.
And there's some other people on YouTube that have become known for just that.
There's
For
a
make
whole there's a whole side of YouTube that's all about this like creepy shit. And that,
Yeah.
like, there's stuff for, there's a great channel that I follow called Next Pro, and they mix it up where they'll do these long form videos about real creepy shit, and then mixed with like stuff like horror critiques on like books and stuff. And I love it. I eat that shit up. Like
Yeah.
they just did one a couple weeks ago called Fear of the Deep, and it was interesting because they were talking about like man's fear of drowning and being underwater, and like also the fear of like what could lie in the water, which is, it's awesome.
Yeah.
And it was creepy, it was genuinely unsettling, and like there was all kinds of stuff in it. Like there was stuff about how we don't know what's in 80% of our oceans because we haven't gone that deep. And then they talk about a story that Junji Ito wrote, this like comic book story about this monster that comes out of the water. But then it closes with this fucking, one of the most, I still can't get it out of my head. This guy, this diver, he went, there's this spot, I think it's in Australia or something. But anyway, it's like one of the deepest points that anyone's ever dove in the water. And people, like, divers do it. It's
Mhm.
like a
In the Mariana Trench or something.
something like that. Yeah, it's kind of like the idea of like a mountain climber going up Mount Everest, right?
Right.
Divers do this thing because it's like, well, anyway, they have video footage of him literally like going to, like, he basically fucked up and sinking and like losing his fucking oxygen. And like, obviously it's like from his like
Yeah. Vantage
body
point.
cam,
Yeah.
but you hear like his breathing. It's fucking terrifying. And when they, like, the voiceover explains it, like that kind of shit is terrifying and scary. But for me, and again, like, maybe I should have watched this on my phone or like on a computer, but for me, watching this on my big TV, watching
Well,
it
let me
like,
ask you, what were the conditions when you watched this?
I watched it in my living room, in my usual, I have rituals with movies. Plenty of people have been very annoyed by them, but if I'm watching a movie, all the lights have to be turned off. It's got to be loud. I got a pretty decent sound
Do
bar,
people like watching movies with lights on?
Yeah, yeah, I've noticed it.
That's so weird.
Or they don't care that they're on, and it bothers
Nah.
me to no end to have the lights
Yeah.
on. And I actually, I kind of like it now. Now I have these lights behind my TV, like they're like LED strips, and they're kind of like mood lighting, so it lights the back
Oh
of the
yeah.
TV.
Yep.
So like that, so it gives it a
But
nice feel.
we got 4 minutes.
Oh
By the
shit.
way. Yeah.
Uh,
So anyway, all right.
yeah,
So you're by yourself,
yeah.
lights off.
lights off,
Going through
watching,
your ritual.
going through my ritual
Sit on the couch.
with just me sitting on
Just
the
you.
couch.
Surround sound. We talking surround sound or like
No,
a sound
no, I
bar?
just have I have a 360 sound bar, so it's supposed to
Okay.
mimic. It's a Dolby surround. It's supposed to mimic surround
So you
sound, and
got
it
pretty
does
close to
pretty.
like being immersed
Yeah, and I
in.
have a 55-inch flat screen 4K TV,
Okay.
so
All right.
it was pretty
So you were
nice.
in it.
Yeah, I
You're
was
in
in
it.
it.
You're basically in the movie.
Yeah, and it that didn't that
Didn't
that
that wasn't enough?
that fidelity in audio did nothing for me. I mean, again, like I understand what it's going for, right? Like I understand the creepy nature of everything, but I was not sold on it whatsoever. And like I was more annoyed than anything because once
I
you
was
kind of
annoyed by the trailer.
yeah, yeah,
Quite honestly, when I told you before I hadn't seen it, so I was like, I got to at least watch the trailer. A minute and a half in the trailer, I was not into it.
yeah, well,
It was just
kick
the same repeating old man dialogue, and it's just kind of droning. I don't know. I was easily distracted with just pretty much anything else. I can't
yeah,
imagine sitting there for an hour and 40
well,
minutes and
and
not just looking
that's how
around the
I felt.
room.
Well, I like had to fight myself not to fucking like pick up my phone and just start looking through my phone. You know, the one thing I will say about like watching at home and watching in the theater, like in the theater, I always turn my phone off. But if I'm watching a
Right.
movie at home, I still got my phone.
You got to
And
talk to people.
it's one thing where it's like that movie, like I was almost like completely just on my phone like right away. I was like, oh my god, like because I feel I have a theory about a movie. Like if it doesn't win you over in 20 minutes, like if you start a movie and you're not into it in the first 20 minutes, you're not gonna like the movie. I have I that is the TJ philosophy. It's my theorem. It's not really a philosophy. And I challenge you to tell me a movie that you didn't like in 20 minutes that you liked by the end, because I feel like it is
Oh,
almost
that's a great challenge for next week. I feel like
it's a I
there's
think
got to
it's
be a movie I can
no,
find
I'm telling you,
a
it's
slow
fuck.
burn.
I've watched so many, but even on slow burns though, they give you a little nugget where you're like, because a good slow burn movie, you're interested. You want to see the burn. You know, you want
Yeah.
it. You're because I watch plenty of slow movies, but like you're still interested in it. But like I think in 20 minutes, that's enough time to go, okay. Now there's plenty of movies where you're into it in the first 20 minutes and then it
And
sucks.
yep.
That happens. But like I will challenge anyone to for a movie that started off and you were not into it in 20 minutes and it redeemed himself. I don't think that movie exists.
So since we just have less than a minute to go, I think it's pretty safe to say that you're not going to be recommending
No.
Skinamarink.
No, I
No.
would recommend literally anything else. I'd recommend just put a blue light on your wall and stare at that for an hour and 40
I
minutes.
did see a movie still, or maybe it was one of their posters similar to that. Also, the upside down image is not creepy.
No, that's
Uh,
stupid.
uh, it was giving off or trying to give off poltergeist vibes.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to watch something, I feel like
That's a good
a
movie.
really creepy movie, atmospheric movie, Poltergeist, I think could be
I
a good
mean,
alternative.
we didn't get to talk about him a lot. Watch if you want something that's creepy and atmospheric and like it's gonna suck you in. Watch Eraserhead. I mean, that movie is like